Hello and welcome back to Retro Reco. I'm Shane,
And I'm Kyle.
and this is a show where we go back and we recommend movies to each other, but a little bit of a twist for the month of May because it's pilot season. It's not
Pilot
pilot season.
season. Yep, pilot
It is
season's what
pilot
we
season.
decided. Yeah, pilot season's what we decided to call this. Or I decided with
Yeah,
no input from you at all.
yeah. So it's pilot season. So we are recommending TV shows. I think we'll probably do this another month later down the line as well. But this the first batch of if they're longer episodes, we watch two of them. If they're short episodes, we watch four of them. This is a longer one, so we watched two. And what did we watch, Kyle? What you recommend?
We watched Peaky Blinders, which is it was a series that started out on BBC Two, and actually for the fifth and sixth season, actually got upgraded to BBC One, and has been airing on Netflix here in the U.S. It is starring Cillian Murphy, uh, Helen McCrory, and a ton of other really great like British character actors.
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill.
Love Sam Neill.
Yeah. So yeah, I watched this. I've been watching this for a while. Like I've watched all 5 series of this, and I'm waiting for series 6 that is coming out actually June 10th in the US. It's already aired in the UK, and I'm looking forward to it and seeing kind of how the story wraps up.
And I had never seen it before, and I watched 2 episodes, and I had to stop myself from just starting episode 3 right away because I'm very much enjoying it.
Yeah, I kind of figured that this would be a one that you would like. So as we've discussed multiple times, like it's not that you don't like organized crime movies, you just haven't seen that many of them, right?
Um, yes, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really have a huge opinion on organized crime movies. I think the big thing is I've never seen the Godfather movies.
Yeah.
But I went through a lot of my life going, I don't need to see some of those older movies.
Yeah.
Um,
But
so that's
you have seen stuff like Goodfellas and
oh yeah,
stuff
I
like
love
that. So
Goodfellas. Goodfellas, Casino, um, Get Shorty. I guess sort of
yeah,
in a
Get
sense.
Shorty counts. Get
Yeah,
Shorty counts. Be Cool doesn't, mostly because it's terrible.
yeah. Be Cool's pretty bad, but that was a Hollywood movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
That was a Hollywood movie, not a crime movie.
so yeah, I've seen a decent amount of mafioso, uh, kind of style. Um, with that said, like I never got into like The Sopranos or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that just had to do with when it came out, and I was basically only watching comedies at that time. So it's one of those things that I might enjoy if I tried watching again.
Yeah. So yeah, what were your kind of overall thoughts until like this one? I think we will kind of do a little bit more beat by beat, just because, like I said in our pre show meeting, like I kind of have to actually keep the notes pretty concise on this one because I don't want to, because Shane has already said he wants to keep going on this series. I don't want to spoil anything for him. So I've got to be like, okay, it's going to get to this point, and that's all we're going to talk about. Like I'm
Yeah,
going to try not to hint at anything else. I'll probably ask your opinion on a couple things just to see, and see kind of where you think things are going, but I won't interject at all.
for sure. That sounds fun for you,
Yeah.
especially. Yeah, no, it's oh, The Gentleman. I saw that one recently and it was very good.
Oh yeah, I still
Um,
need to watch that. Yeah.
that was the last movie I saw in theaters before COVID became a thing.
Oh.
Um, so I very much enjoy any show that does we're gonna place this right here, and you're gonna know, so we place that right there, and it's gonna come up later. You can tell it's gonna come up later, but it's gonna be there. And later when it does come up, you'll be like, oh ho 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 ho, you did the thing, where you go back to the thing, which they seem to do a lot in here, and I think they're setting up a lot. Like it felt that first episode, I'm just like, they are setting up a lot of pins to drop right here. Like they're setting up the gun situation. They're setting up I mean, just lightly setting up some horse. And I'm just speaking on episode 1 right now, but
Okay.
just some horse tomfoolery. They're
Yep.
setting up is the oldest brother, because they didn't show his answer, but is he like an informant now too? They're setting up Sam Neill's whole relationship with Winston Churchill, which was a weird thing for me, but with Winston Churchill, the Secretary of Defense.
Yep.
And like where that's gonna go, they've got the barmaid who is an undercover cop. They've got the relationship between the communist former best friend and the sister, which they've already, and a lot of this stuff they've already done things with on episode
Yeah.
2. And like I'm just like, this pilot is just setting up all these super super interesting things that my mind just be like, I want to know where this is going to go and what's going to happen on these things. Like
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, yeah, and like, yeah, even in the pilot, like we get references to, did you get permission to do this from Billy Kimber? And it's like, it'll be fine. It's like, nope, not gonna be fine.
yep, they already set up that there's somebody at ultimate on the horse races, and then episode 2, obviously
Yeah.
he then sets the race, or he books the race to go the way that it's supposed to. And then you find out that the fight at the beginning of episode 2 was also a setup.
Yep.
Like it's very smart. Oh, also his opium. He's
Yeah.
doing opium, so you're like, that's gonna come into play at some point. The fake the death fake out. Like there's so many things that are like set up to for these dominoes to fall with.
Yeah.
That you're just like, which ones are going to fall? Which ones are going to bite him in the ass? Which ones did he already expect to bite him in the ass? He's prepared for. Like,
Yeah.
there's so much that could happen. That's just it's exciting.
Well, and then even like in those things that you talked about at first, some of those that you don't think are connected, which is crazy. Like, and it's like, and then you realize like towards the end of the season how they're connected. It's like, oh, okay, I see what you did there. All right.
Like I said in episode 2, when getting in the fight with the Leedsmen, and then at the end of the episode, that he's got that bullet with his name on it. That he's like, we have the same enemy. How about instead of you getting mad at us, we team up, buddy?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch! Like what?
Yeah, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
And they've also set up just slightly that his the younger brother is hot tempered, and I'm like, that's definitely gonna come into it at some point. Like he's definitely gonna mess up somewhere. John's hot tempered
because he's actually not the youngest brother, because Finn is the youngest brother. And this is it's not the first scene, but I love some of the character introductions that we get here.
Who's Finn?
Finn is the 10-year-old that Aunt Polly caught playing with John's gun, and then points the gun at him, and just points the gun and is about to shoot him as he's walking out of the bar.
I forgot about that. That they mentioned that younger brother, because you haven't seen him yet in the 2 episodes at least. But
no, he talks to Tommy. Because he's Tommy walks in the house and he's smoking and tries to put the cigarette out.
Oh,
and
that's right. Okay.
And then it's like, what the hell are you doing, Tommy? What's a 10-year-old know about hell? I'm almost 11.
Yep. Okay, I forgot that. I watched episode 1 last night and episode 2 this morning.
Yeah.
So episode 2 is a little fresher in my mind.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I said, with character introductions, the opening scene of this is I wrote in my notes, guy riding a horse through a rundown part of town. Post-apocalyptic? Nope, it's Birmingham.
I also, opening scene of this, when it first started and everyone's speaking in Chinese and they're like running, I'm like, did I turn on the wrong show?
Yeah.
because it starts off with a bunch of Chinese actors running around and like talking to each other and like freaking out about something, and I'm like, what? This is not what I expected to start this series. About Irishmen and British people and Ireland. Are they in Ireland? They're in
No,
Ireland, right?
they're in Birmingham,
Okay.
which is England. So
Yes,
that's
that's
why.
England.
Yep.
Yep.
But
Um,
Sam Neill just came from Belfast.
yes,
That's where you're getting
and
the Irish connection.
they're Irish.
They're from Birmingham. They're
They're
actually
from Birmingham.
They're
I
part.
think I'm thrown off because Killian is Irish. That actor is Irish, right?
Yes, yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Yeah. But they are half Romani Gypsy, half English, and have grown up in Birmingham. Yeah, that's one of the things that you get more into later in the series but is a good context, just so you know, of like, yeah, like, well, and even they say like, they're not IRA, when they're talking about the raids and stuff, because they actually, all three of the oldest brothers, because Finn obviously is too young, fought in World War One. Like John, Tommy, and Arthur all fought in World War One.
Oh, and the fact that they have a character with PTSD, by the way, is really cool
Yeah.
because it's early 1910s and things like that. The basing around, and like obviously people would have PTSD from World War One. Like it's very obvious. It's not PTSD is not something new. Like it's just something. It's a newer term. It's not new though.
Yeah, and you see the various ways of how they all are coping with it too. Like Arthur is drinking heavily and trying to get a double BJ in a theater. Tommy is smoking opium. Apparently, you can just tell John just had a bunch of kids right away, and then his wife died. And then you get Danny Whizbang, who is definitely going through, PTSD and flashbacks and everything.
Yep.
Which I'm sure shooting him in the head with pig guts or sheep guts won't help that at all. He's like, "Oh, I had a moment of clarity." It's like, no, I mean, maybe for a little bit, but not. No, I don't think this is going to last very long.
I mean, that's not going to help it, but he also saved his life by doing it.
Yeah, because of course, just the random restaurateur or chef of the Italian restaurant is connected to the Irish mob.
Yeah, Italian mob.
Sorry.
Yeah. And then you also, I mean, you get a sense of Tommy's loyalty and respect for his friends, though, with the fact that he did fake the death to save the guy's life, and he kept telling people in episode 2 that he was gonna kill what's his name, the communist.
Yeah, Freddie Thorne. Yep.
Yeah, they just kept calling him a communist over and over again, and I'm just like, all right, he's just the communist in my head now.
Yeah.
But instead he sent him a letter saying like, take my sister and run.
Yeah.
Like, it's they're doing a good job making you, like, he's obviously not a good guy, but they're doing a good job like making you see the human moments from the character already.
Yeah, for sure. You actually see those human moments. And going on later, like, it seems like the only thing to shake in these first 2 episodes, the only thing that ever shakes Tommy is having to put down that horse. And you can tell that that's the thing that breaks him. And he even says, like, he got used to watching men die in war, but he never got used to seeing the horses die. Because they died so brutally in World War One.
Yeah. They also had that moment between Sam Neill and the aunt. She's the aunt, right?
Yes, she's Aunt Polly. Yeah.
Aunt Polly. Yeah, where he like forces her up, and then she kisses him, and he's just like so staggered back, and I'm like, oh, those two are totally gonna bang. Just like it's gonna happen at some point. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be angry, but it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you. Oh, I thought you're. What's there? I've got her line written down. Hold on. Da, da, da. Yeah, because that's episode 2.
Yeah, You said we're going beat by beat.
Yeah,
then I
no, yeah,
proceeded
we're
to
just
jump
we're just
all
go.
over
Yeah,
the
we're
place.
jumping all over the place.
Yep. Yep.
Um. Oh yeah, sorry, I misunderstood your intentions when you pressed me against the wall.
Yep.
I love Aunt Polly.
Yep. And then
That is the only bittersweet moment that I'm gonna have trouble with for season 6 is Helen McCrory did unfortunately pass away before they started filming season 6. And so her character won't be, or she won't be a part of it. I don't know what they're doing character wise with that, but because she is so good in this show.
in the 2 episodes I've seen so far, she has been fantastic.
Yeah, like and I love the fact that, and this is clearly you can tell in the pilot they're working out the verbiage, because Arthur at first says, "Oh, we gotta do a family council." They never refer to it as a family council for the rest of the season. It is always a family meeting.
Yeah.
It is all like from episode 2 on. It's family meeting.
Well, whenever I see shows like this, I always wonder: is this one of the shows where, they filmed all 6 episodes in a row, like they were cool with doing all of it, or was it one where they did have to do the pilot, and then a month later after they saw the pilot and they said it was cool, they started filming the next ones, like, and verbiage changes like that could be either, like they could have just made the change in the writers' room, or it could be either way.
Or
that might be more of an American thing though with pilots though, where
Yeah.
they only do the one and then they wait a month to have people watch that one. And
yeah, because I know in the UK they do a lot of bulk shooting of like shooting at least a few episodes at a time. But this could also be the difference, and this is kind of one of the things you can see with Tommy, is the fact that he's clearly the one in charge now of the Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, they make that clear.
But he's never, and this is what I love, the scene and the dichotomy between himself and Billy Kimber is you can tell right away Tommy is in charge of the Peaky Blinders, and he doesn't need to say it.
Yes.
And he never like undermines Arthur, or at this point, like he never undermines and goes over him. I mean, he does a little bit of like Arthur's like, "Oh, look, we got this information about at the very beginning, like this information that they're recruiting troops for the police force," and Tommy's like, "Yeah, I already know. And here's even more information because we have cops on our payroll. They told me."
Yep.
Oh, okay, but doesn't so he undermined him a little bit, but doesn't like blatantly like, "You're a moron, older brother." He doesn't do stuff like that. Whereas Billy Kimber has to yell and say he's the one in charge.
Well, I found it. That scene once again was very interesting in the fact that he goes, I've got 3 of you in front of me. Which one of you is in charge? He's like, "Well, I'm the oldest." And he's like, "I can tell." He laughs, and the youngest is like, "You laugh at my brother." And he goes, "All right, so you're hot-headed. You're definitely old. So that means you're in charge." And
Yep.
I'm just like, okay. That's an interesting mindset on that.
Yep. It's like, yeah, it's like sussed him out completely right away of like, okay, yep, nope, all right, I see where this is going. Yep.
But and then so I thought that the guns would be the full first series. I thought that that Sam Neill wouldn't know that he had the guns until episode 6.
Yeah.
Obviously that's not true, because he
But
straight up just
yeah.
tells him in episode 2.
Yeah. But he smartly never tells him where the guns are.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You know. And I think we get one clue onto where they are. Well, because he says they're moving them to the storage facility by
Yeah,
the
where they used to put the
where they used to
cigarettes.
put the cigarettes. Whether they actually move them there, that might be another thing. But
Yeah, because he basically says that he'll know what you mean. So I was
yeah,
like, that might not be the spot then.
yeah,
That boatman guy also is a very interesting character so far.
oh yeah, Charlie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like he's
which
obviously a middleman
yeah, like
kind of thing, where because he's the one that had the bullet too. Like he's not necessarily part of the Peaky Blinders or that gang. That he's just kind of he's the boatman of the River Styx. He boats for whoever boats tells him to, I guess, or
yeah,
something.
yeah. He is their uncle, or he's referred to as Uncle Charlie.
Okay, because he does say that I love you like a son to him
Yeah.
too. So
Well, that's because their dad is a piece of garbage. And so like yeah, Uncle Charlie, who I believe is, I think, on his mother's side. Or one of the other brothers maybe. But he's not, but I know for a fact he's not Aunt Paulie's brother.
So he's an uncle on whatever the opposite
on
side
the other
of,
side, yeah.
of Aunt Polly. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's probably like Paulie's cousin as opposed to like on the other side. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't completely figured out the family tree on that one because the other part of the family is, Romany gypsies. So, their family tree is always complicated.
And then you've got the barmaid who is also a undercover cop for Sam Neill.
Yes. So after two episodes, what do you think of Grace?
It's hard to tell. So I'm half thinking that Tommy already has an inkling, just with everything that he seems to know so far. And the attention that he's paying to her, where he hasn't paid that attention to anyone else. And I don't know if it's just straight up like I'm into you, or if it's just like I'm on to you rather than into. But I think she's I mean, hard to read, and I think that's on purpose. Like she showed an interest in Tommy before she was told that to focus on him.
Yeah.
And Sam Neill also pointed out, he was pretty much just like, hey, watch out, kind of the way that she mentioned straight into I don't think it was them, I think it was the IRA. Which I mean also delved into her backstory of her dad being killed by the IRA and being a cop. But I like the character so far, but it's hard. I just don't know. I feel like I said, it's purposefully misleading because my mind says she is going to end up on Tommy's side of things, but then I'm also like, but she's an undercover agent. Like, she's supposed to make you think that.
Yeah. I mean, either way,
weird to tell.
Either way, terrible rendition of Black Velvet Band, but
I thought she was a nice singer.
Yeah, she's fine.
Love her nose.
Of course you do. So of the characters that we've talked about so far, we've mentioned his name a little bit here and there, but Sam Neill is in this show.
Oh yeah.
And Sam Neill and his mustache.
Wearing it well.
He is. And super speechifying. Like, he is just, getting up on anything that resembles a pulpit and just doing a sermon anytime he possibly can.
Yep. They brought him into monologue.
Yep.
and he does it well.
He
He's a
does.
great
He
actor.
does do it well. And just the little lines like of like when they're doing the raid of like, we will get them before last night's beer turns to piss.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. All right. And yeah, it's just like the thing I like about this show, like obviously I have a little bit of an affinity for like mob and like organized crime kind of related things, because if you're listening to this feed, you see, you know, that I'm doing a podcast on The Offer as well at the same time.
For those who don't know, which is a series on The Godfather.
Yep. And so like I'm very much deep into, you know, that world and watching a lot of like mafia documentaries and stuff like that. So like I really like this world, but what keeps drawing me into this show in particular is just the level of acting. Like, and you get these fantastic scenes, and yes, a lot of it is Cillian Murphy. Like Cillian Murphy's just has just this very watchable charisma, you know, and you can't take your eyes off his scenes in particular. But like every scene that he has with Helen McCrory, like I said, is fantastic. And you know, we start getting into episode 2, that tea room scene between Sam Neill and Tommy is so good. Like, and just the, you know, Tommy already knows he's in charge and has the upper hand as he walks into the room. And it's so good.
I also liked the last line or the last lines of each of them, where he's like, I wouldn't want to shake hands on this though, and he gets up and he's like, why would I shake hands with someone who wouldn't defend their country, and walks away. And I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, I did put it in my notes. Like, I love the fact that Tommy always has that you didn't fight in the war card that he can always pull anytime like Campbell gets a little too high and mighty. It's like, oh yeah, and what were you doing for the last year? Well, I was, you know, off fighting the Germans. Oh, okay. Oh, you were just here. All right.
Just that shame. Just throw that shame at him.
Yeah. And also the complete, like I said, he never undermines Arthur, but he immediately undermines Inspector Campbell, of like, you know, Campbell going off on that rant about, oh, excuse me, I don't have a pen to, you know, for this long list of demands, and then immediately just slides him a pen.
Yep.
It's like, now you do.
But yeah, I'm very much enjoying 2 episodes that I've watched so far. I'll probably watch another 1 or 2 today.
Yeah.
If not the full first series.
Yeah.
We'll see where I'm at.
Oh, and I love the fact that Aunt Polly just has the immediate power to perceive if Ada's pregnant or not.
Yes, she sees what she's eating, and then she gets up and grabs her by the breast and says, so how long have you missed it? I'm just like, okay, that's...
She's like, a week, 5 weeks, 7 if you count weekends. It's like, yes, Ada, we're counting weekends. But that's also another scene that we didn't talk about that is probably, because Ada is such a brat, but in like the best ways for a TV show. Because, like, she knows how powerful her brothers are. And she knows she has this, you know, buffer of protection because of them, that she can get away with so much stuff. But that also means she's the only one who can get away with crap because she's the little sister with her brothers. Like, you know... I can't remember which. Oh yeah. when they're in the theater, when Tommy comes to confront her, and she's like, "All right, whose is it?" And then she just references the actor in the film, and then
Yep.
Tommy just walks away and shuts down the projector and tells everybody to get out of there. Because like Ada's just standing up for herself because she's like, "Yeah, no, what are you gonna do?" Ooh, and
And
then
then once Tommy leaves, she yells, "I'm a Shelby too. Turn my movie back on."
yep,
Just
it's so good. She's so awful, but in like just the right ways. Um, yeah, it's
so
like
scared to like
I'm a
click on all these
Shelby
actors
too.
on IMDb just to be just because I don't want to know how many episodes they're in,
Yeah, don't.
but I also want to see what other stuff they've done. So it's
Oh,
just
yep. Well, and also like the weird thing with this cast and with most British TV shows is it very much feels like there are some actors in this show that are like, cool, I'm just gonna be in this show, and that's all I want to do for right now. And then because like I said, it's 6 episodes every year or so. Um, but then there's people like later on in the second season, like Finn Cole. He's literally doing this while he's also doing Animal Kingdom on TNT, while also being young John Cena in Fast 9, because he's like, hey, I'm like in my 20s, early 30s. I'm going to try and get as much work as I can right now. Whereas Cillian Murphy is like, yeah, no, I'm cool just being Tommy Shelby for a little bit. I'll maybe occasionally do a movie here and there but clearly like Peaky Blinders is the, main thing that he's doing. I love, and you'll see like it especially comes up later. I love Paul Anderson as Arthur Shelby. He does an amazing job.
I love that character so far. So
Yeah, he's so good. He's in Christmas Invasion. I'm looking this up. I didn't realize that. Huh.
I'm very interested to see how that character goes so far, or moving on to see if he's a double agent or a triple agent or what now with that setup scene of
Yeah.
them being like, you can help us, and yeah,
Yeah.
there's it's I'm very intrigued by that character.
Yeah, the dynamics of the brothers especially is really the crux of this entire show. Like every caper, every weird thing Tommy ends up in is background and just something for them to do to show off the dynamics of this family. Like I said, we get amazing scenes with Cillian Murphy and Helen McCrory. So much. We get great stuff between Tommy and Arthur, and Tommy and John, and even Arthur and John at points. And then, like I said, in season 2, when we get Finn Cole's character introduced, it just this series for the most part just feels like a crime background to have fantastic scenes between good actors, and those are the type of shows I like.
Yeah, I'm excited to see more. I think this was a very good recommendation.
Yeah. So one last thing. One last thing. Where do you think the guns are?
Where do I think the guns are?
Where do you think the guns are?
I mean, that's hard for me to say so far because they haven't talked about the location much, other than that's where they used to hide the cigarettes. I would guess in the stables, like in a hidey place in the stables, if it's in a place that we've already seen, but I don't know. It's hard to say.
Okay. I'm just trying to look through and see if there's any other ones that I can see. Oh yeah, Freddie and Ada are gonna get married, but then
Yep.
Freddie stays, because he's like, no, I can stand up to your brothers. Yeah, okay,
We'll see how that goes.
sure, Freddie. Uh, like I like Freddie, but also I love the fact that you can tell right away. It's like, hey, if you didn't know he was a communist already, literally the first words out of his mouth are comrades. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I'm really glad that you've enjoyed the show. And yeah, I will enjoy talking to you about it later. So, what is your recommendation for next time?
Yeah. So I had a few that I was thinking about. I had said that I probably won't be doing Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood because you've seen a bunch of those episodes. I was pretty certain you'd already seen Cowboy Bebop, so I didn't really.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm like halfway through it actually. I haven't finished it, but I've at least seen the first few episodes.
so I
Uh
kind of fell down to about two or three. But the two that I was debating between that I was going to give you an offer from, I was going to ask if you were interested in watching a Western style, or like a feudal Japan style um, anime, which you don't get
ooh.
that choice anymore because the Western style anime is not on Netflix.
Ah, okay.
That would have been Trigun, um,
Okay.
which is a late '80s early '90s anime that came to the U.S. I think in the late '90s. Um, but instead, we're gonna go with Demon Slayer.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'd be down for that.
So yeah, Demon
Um
Slayer is on Netflix. We're gonna watch the first four episodes because they're 20-minute episodes. Um,
okay, I guess because I also didn't realize how long each of these episodes were because I for some reason thought it was more American style hour, not BBC size hour where it is, an actual hour.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
So even four episodes of these are we're looking at American style 2 hours rather
Yeah.
than BBC style two
Yep.
hours. So yeah, they're 24-minute episodes. I mean, obviously, a few minutes of that are going to be the
The recap.
um, uh, recap slash intro song slash outro song. So really, the episodes are about 21 to 22 minutes long.
Yeah.
So little less than an hour and a half of actual show. That math makes sense. 20, 40, 60,
Yeah,
80.
no, you're
Yeah, about yeah.
hour and a half, hour
Um,
45, yeah.
yep. So, but yeah, I'm excited to have you watch that and discuss some of that because it has become one of my uh new favorites. I'm really enjoying this show so far.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
If you catch up, then maybe we can watch Mugen Train at some point too,
Ooh, cool.
which was their movie, which was amazing.
Nice.
And there's a
Uh
reason why it beat out Spirited Away for number one uh,
oh
movie.
yeah, for highest grossing. Yep.
Yep.
Um yeah. Oh, yeah, speaking one last thing about Peaky Blinders. What do you think of the choice in music?
I would say that I'm totally fine with it so far because I haven't really noticed it.
Okay.
So it hasn't stood out, which to me in a period piece like that is what you want. It blends in with the scenery and with everything else that's going on.
Yeah, cuz like it is like faster rock and stuff, but yeah, I think they do a good job of keeping it to, like, even though it is a little more modern, keeping it to a gritty tone. Like, you get Nick Cave, singing Red Right Hand, and that just feels like, yeah, no, this is probably a little more updated, but this is in this world,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yep. It feels natural. It doesn't take you out, which
Yep.
is what you want.
Well, cool.
Well,
Um,
awesome. Any
so,
plugs?
uh, as always, like I said, I'm currently doing, and I literally am going to record the next episode as we finish recording this. The next episode of a podcast you can't refuse, which is my podcast on the Easter eggs and movie references that are included in The Offer, which is the Paramount Plus TV show about the making of The Godfather. And follow me on all other stuff at Knocked Out Films.
And my only plug is be good to each other.